Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've recorded a YouTube video. Before we get into this one, I want to mention that if you're not already, consider watching my streams, which I've been doing roughly every 2 weeks. I think you might enjoy them. And consider subscribing to my 2 different Substack blogs, which I will link in the video description. Of course, you can also follow me on social media. Mastodon is great, and I will respond to you pretty quickly there. Other social media like Instagram and Blue Sky also works. I will respond to you less quickly there. I loved YouTube for the time I did it, but between having a kid and being tired of spending almost every waking hour working, it's been nice to not be making regular videos. And to be honest, I think it was good to be done with transit and YouTubing before the cynicism that was slowly growing became a full-blown problem. Good time to just let the YouTube channel sail off into the sunset. As I mentioned at the top, I'm still doing live streams every 2 weeks, but these aren't the kind of commitment that full-length videos are, and it's just a good way for me to interact with the community and answer a few questions. But as it turns out, beyond the live streaming I've been doing, I actually do have 2 different big projects which I want to talk about that will sort of serve as a capstone for this entire YouTube transit project. And that's a YouTube channel that has a truly global reach. It was cool the first time I was recognized in person walking around Toronto, but it was much cooler the first time I was recognized walking around on a different continent. Ultimately, I hope my YouTube channel can inspire other people to do advocacy work, consider starting their own YouTube or social media presences about public transportation, and probably just take the train or bus more. But putting that aside, what are these 2 projects? One of them is actually much longer term, and I'm going to cover it first, and the other is much more immediate. I'm writing a book, and not literally now, because I'm recording this video, but I have been writing a book. Over the years, I made over 1,000 different videos on public transportation, where I talked about, summarized, and distilled information about different networks, planning, design, construction, and everything in between into YouTube videos. But that information is spread across hundreds of videos, and what I've realized over time is that even for me, the person creating the videos, it can be really hard to find a particular bit of information that might be in one of many different places. I'd often talk about different cities in videos that weren't explicitly about them. For example, when talking about Sydney, I might mention the fact that the same manufacturer that originally designed Sydney's double-decker trains also did the same for Toronto. And it can be really hard to figure out what video to send someone if they want to learn about, say, automated metros or S-Bonds, since I did sometimes have dedicated videos, but I talked about these topics in a lot of different videos. And while the information in that dedicated video on automated metros might be interesting, you might also find the information I talk about in my Sao Paulo video where I talk about one particular automated metro line quite relevant. The issue is that the format of videos is designed for people watching individual videos on YouTube, not for people who are trying to be completionists or who are trying to learn a lot about rail and public transportation in general. To be clear, I still think there's a ton you can learn from my videos, and some videos, like my Tokyo Rail Network Explained video, might be really hard to translate into a book for obvious reasons. A lot of it is just visuals of the rail network. But the idea for the book is to take all of my videos and try to distill the core ideas and knowledge and the sort of possibility space for rail-based public transit into a book that's much easier to consume in its entirety, but also to reference if you have particular questions. Basically, you'll never have to email me a question again. You'll also not be cursed with the terrible affliction that is mental regional lock on your knowledge of public transportation systems. So many people are really familiar with transit in their city or perhaps their country, but have very little idea what goes on in the rest of the world, and whether their country or city actually does something that's more standard or kind of unique. And again, having everything broken down by topic and category should make it much easier to reference, if less charming. Now, the topic of the book really is urban rail, and I had to compress things down. This has been a project that's been going on for a while because I need to control scope if I want to actually finish the project. But the way you can look at it is that this book will probably have many additions over time where I expand, clarify, add new sections on different cities and transit modes and the like. So it's a bit of a living project. In terms of timeline, I'd love to have a first edition available by the end of the year so that you can give a holiday gift to a family member or transit-oriented friend who wants to learn all about urban rail and cities. Now, that timeline could slip, but since I see this as the sort of capstone of my YouTube project, and unless someone else wants to hire me, this is kind of the end for me in transit, and so I do have quite a bit of motivation to get it done. So that's my first project. I'm really excited for it, and I think it's going to be immensely valuable, not just to my viewers, but to the transit industry in general, giving people a single source of truth where they can go and learn a ton about urban rail across the world, as well as all of its quirks and different features. If you want to learn more and keep track of my progress on the book, you can subscribe to my Patreon for free. There's a free subscription tier, and I'm going to be pushing out book updates to the free subscription tier, so you can follow there. I'll probably post here as well, but I assume many people don't want to remain subscribed to YouTube channels they don't watch or that aren't regularly releasing videos. So yeah, I'll post on all the socials, but Patreon will probably get more detailed posts and updates. It's all going to be free. There's a free tier. Go subscribe there. Let's talk about the second project. One of the nicest things someone did for me while I was doing YouTube was when Jason of Not Just Bikes shouted me out in his 100,000 subscriber video. He didn't have to do that, but it was a really big morale boost as well as subscriber boost that helped me, keep my channel going and growing for years to come. It was a booster rocket to help me get to orbit, so to speak. And I think if there's a single note I want to go out on as a YouTuber, it's to be a booster rocket for other smaller creators whose content that I enjoy. And because by helping to grow a next generation of transit content creators, I can help make the world a better place. No, but seriously, I think when there is more media and information out there about public transportation, it encourages people to get more involved in it in their local communities, to consider taking it a bit more often, and to just open up their minds to this part of the city that many people don't think about. Now, I personally don't love watching city planning and public transportation content for much the same reason that I don't eat donuts for all of my meals. But there have been creators over the years who I've seen and loved and who I know my audience will love as well. But I actually didn't want to just shout people out. Instead, I reached out to a ton of these transit content creators and asked them if they'd be interested in making a video that goes on my channel that basically promotes themselves, talks about what they do, maybe in the format of a typical video they'd upload on their own channel, and give you a sense of what you can get if you go and look at their videos and subscribe. And so after reaching out to a bunch of content creators, people got back, they had ideas, they had things they wanted to do, and so starting next week, I'm going to have videos going up every couple of weeks between my regular planned streams where people from kind of all around the world are able to release a video on my channel that talks about the stuff they're doing for public transportation on their own YouTube channels. I'm super excited for it. The first one's going to be on a rather chaotic transit content creator whose videos I've appeared in the past, but who clearly should have far more subscribers. And so that's me trying to contribute to this whole ecosystem of videos. You should, of course, also go subscribe to Paige Saunders, but I've been saying that for years. It feels like this is the right way to say goodbye to RMTransit, which is, of course, Rapid Mass Transit, by the way. With a big project from myself that will hopefully be useful to the whole transit community and industry for a long time, and videos from a bunch of different creators that can hopefully give you a path onwards in this journey of transit discovery. Give you new videos to watch on a regular basis since I'm not going to be making them. Thanks for watching and for everything over the years. I really appreciate it a ton. It's been the career of a lifetime, and I'm excited to see where you, the community, and where all of those other creators go next. Bye.